What's up, guys? CJ here, and welcome back to another all-new episode of Hybrid TV, where we break down all the big news about your small screens. I'm joined, as always, by Tim.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
And Will.
Hey, what's up? Well, we have news that Star Wars has tapped movie director Jon Favreau to pick up their live-action Star Wars series in an odd flip, because they have the Game of Thrones guys doing the movies. So they have Jon Favreau doing the TV, which...
Yes, they do. They do. And it's interesting to note, as you guys probably out there listening, and as you guys, Will and Tim, probably know, the Star Wars live-action series, there are going to be multiple Bob Iger confirmed. And if you're wondering which one this is, because it's kind of hard to tell, because we have no idea what any of them are at this point, Deadliner is referring to this as the live-action Star Wars series. So this is Favreau's probably helming whatever was supposed to be the first live-action Star Wars series. He is going to, essentially, for all intents and purposes, he is going to be the showrunner of this new show, even though his actual title is just going to be writer and executive producer. That's usually how the show-running thing goes. This is really interesting because, like you said, Will, he's kind of got more of a background in the movies, but he has voiced characters in the Clone Wars, and he is voicing a character in Solo: A Star Wars Story, so he's no stranger to the universe. No stranger to Disney. He did Iron Man 1 and 2, plays Happy Hogan. So he's been around, and he's also doing The Lion King, of course. What do you guys think about the pick? That's true. He did Jungle Book, doing Lion King right now. What do you guys... I mean, honestly, I don't hate this pick. I think Jon Favreau is really good. I think he, in terms of tone and like what they're looking at tonally for a series... I think he's probably like right in line because he can do serious stuff, but he's got a background mainly in comedy, and I think he's going to be able to bring, he's going to be able to bring it to life, I feel like. What do you guys think?
I mean, I don't know, like you said, he doesn't have a lot of TV work under his belt, so I don't know how it'll transition or what the budget for the show will be, because for the stuff that I know him for something Star Wars related, like... He usually works like a fairly large budget, and he makes it work. He makes it look good. I just don't know how it's going to transition to TV.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's definitely a whole different beast.
Yeah, I've seen, I saw Chef around the time that came out, and I think that's a smaller budget, so I think he can work well if, like, he needs to, because it had a bigger budget only because,
like, the smaller indie stuff like that. I'm just talking about something Star Wars related. Like, I don't think it's going to be like a Star Wars food truck in space.
Well, it could be. We don't know. But
that would be interesting.
that'd be funny.
Do you remember Clone Wars? It's Dex's Diner from Clone Wars.
Oh my god.
That's the entirety of the series.
Dex's Diner.
I hope the series all takes place in that diner of that guy who Obi-Wan was friends with in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, Dex.
Dex?
Yeah. Oh, Dex.
Because you mentioned Clone Wars, not Attack of the Clones.
Oh, sorry, Clone Wars.
Attack of the Clone Wars.
Like that random 50s diner that exists in the Star Wars universe.
I think my wires were crossed because one of the Dex's species, the big, tall, four-armed dudes, is a bad guy in Clone Wars. But, sure, that's what it was. This is really interesting, though. It's an interesting pick. Again, we have no idea what it's going to cover. I have heard some whispers, and this is an exclusive. No, it's not an exclusive. I'm just, from people that I've talked to about this, people that are much more in the know than I am, they kind of have pointed out that if you look at what Favreau did on Clone Wars, he voiced the Mandalorian villain Pre Vizsla, and he apparently just loves the Mandalorian idea. He loves that part of the universe. So I'm not saying that means that he would be doing potentially a series based around the Mandalorians or Boba Fett or anything like that. But he does love that for what it's worth. But honestly, I would definitely. What would you guys want to see him explore? I mean, other than Dex's Diner, clearly. That's our number one seed.
I am, as much as I love and am fascinated by the Jedi, a Mandalore-focused series or like a Boba Fett series that just like does a lot of his different bounty hunters, you could carry that for a long time. And I would...
Oh, yeah.
My thing with Jon Favreau is I like Jon Favreau as a writer and director, and I trust him. I'm more perplexed with the direction that Disney is going to take Star Wars going forward because of the reception of The Last Jedi and with Rebels having just ended, what they're going to do going forward in terms of like marketing and working with directors for the property, because the fan base right now is very split. And it's kind of like, are they going to try to get new people who try to get old people? Like, what are their plans for the franchise, and how is this TV show going to, like, tie into that, is what I'm curious about.
honestly, if I'm Disney, I think the biggest thing is that there's a good chance that none of these fans that have gone, they've dumped the series, they're never coming back. None of those fans are, probably going to come back while Disney's running the show. The only chance that they have is by embracing the EU, which, to their credit, I think they're doing a lot more of. Like, you look at Rebels. Rebels brought in a ton of EU stuff, not just in the last season, but in, like, the last 2 or 3 seasons of that show. They went really EU heavy. Solo: A Star Wars Story is going really, really EU heavy. It's definitely something that they're not afraid to explore, and they're not afraid to bring back in. They've kind of made statements on the record recently that really Leland Chief from the Story Group put it out there that the big reason why they scrapped the EU as a whole in the first place, generally, it was because it basically creates a constriction that filmmakers and showrunners of TV series have to work around. Like, you've got to dodge all these books. It's like, oh yeah, the Yuuzhan Vong invasion happened
why they
here.
got rid of it.
Well, exactly. That was the main reason. Was you don't want it's like, oh, how could Luke be here? He was fighting the Yuuzhan Vong and 19 years after the Battle of Yavin. It's like, no, it was, they don't want to have to be second guessing themselves like that. But, specifically, Chief points to the fact that Chewbacca died in the Yuuzhan Vong War. These new movies are set after the Yuuzhan Vong War. They wanted Chewbacca in the movies, so that's
he didn't get squashed by a moon.
Exactly. So he didn't get a moon thrown at him. I think that's a more specific, like, this is one case of why, one example out of many of why they scrapped the EU. But what they've done since then is show that there are parts of the EU they want to bring back in. It's one of those things where it's got to happen on a case-by-case basis. It's not going to happen all at once. Who knows? He could do Knights of the Old Republic. He could do something else. But you've got to embrace that stuff and bring it back. And so whatever his series is, I hope it's very, kind of in that vein. They've been doing a good job, though.
My option is the one that I've been bringing up for a while when we talked about shows, and Jon Favreau would actually be a good fit for it. Do a series about a smuggler.
Like something cool. Like 1313 was supposed to be.
Just do that as a show.
It's going to be really interesting to see what happens, and I do hope that they use the series to go away from the Jedi. Is my goal.
Yeah.